Welcome to the bestselling podcast, the show that ignites your passion for leadership and empowers you to develop a culture of continuous improvement. I'm your host, Matt Sims, and in each episode, we bring you fascinating insights and invaluable tips from our incredible lineup of guests. What do they all have in common? They share an unwavering dedication to excellence and are the experts in driving engagement, improving metrics, and reducing costs.
The bestselling podcast with Matt Sims. You know it makes sense.
This episode is sponsored by Catalyst Consulting Limited. Catalyst Consulting exists to help people and organisations work better today and be ready for tomorrow. They have a rich history of igniting business transformation using business agility, lean, Six Sigma, strategy deployment, agile and change management. They can help you and your organisation to develop the skills necessary to work and manage differently. To find out more, check out catalystconsulting.co.uk. Hello and welcome along to the bestselling podcast, where today we have a truly exceptional guest with us. I'm thrilled to be joined by the multi-award winning entrepreneur and best-selling author of the phenomenal book Win. It's only Donna O'Toole, everybody! Now, Donna is the founder of August Recognition, a top global awards agency that has been transforming the way businesses, brands, teams, and leaders gain valuable recognition for their achievements since 2015. Now, she's been named one of the world's top 25 customer experience influencers, and she's made a significant impact by helping organizations achieve high-impact commercial and cultural results. In today's episode, Donna will be sharing her incredible wisdom with us, diving deep into the importance of celebrating success in the workplace. She'll reveal the hidden benefits that come with an award nomination and provide an insider's look into her best-selling book, Win. Donna's insights are sure to enlighten and inspire, offering practical steps and expert guidance to help you engage your teams, celebrate success, and accelerate the journey to excellence. So get ready to take notes and be inspired as we welcome the wonderful Donna O'Toole to the bestselling podcast. Hello, Donna.
Hello, Matt. Thank you. It's a very lovely introduction.
There we go. Everyone's screaming, woo, Donna, Donna. It's amazing to have you here. This is so overdue.
Yes.
We've been talking about this for so long.
We have.
But like all good things, like a nice coffee, it has to percolate first and prepare itself. So it's so lovely to have you here. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Now, what I really love about this episode is it's such a positive subject.
Yeah, definitely.
It's all about something that I think we forget often in the workplace. So I've worked in large organizations pretty much my entire career. The pace is often very fast. We sort of knock one project down, we move on to the next, move on to the next, move on to the next. And I think we forget the people so frequently. We're very quick to pull them in and tell them they haven't done very well, or they've not met the targets, or they've not met the performance levels that we expect. But how often do we actually stop and go, do you know what? We've done something really well. We need to celebrate that success.
Yeah, that happens a lot. I think there's a lot of organizations, I can say mine included sometimes, where you're just running so fast to the next thing or the next innovation or the next fire that you need to fight or whatever that is, that actually stopping to reflect and look back and look at all the milestones you've achieved to get you where you are now is something that's so valuable. You can get an award at the end of it. Yes, of course, that's brilliant to celebrate success. But actually, even just the practice of stopping and reflecting in itself can help everybody in the team.
Why do you think it is that we don't do it?
Well, I think there's a couple of things, particularly with awards, but then also with stopping in general. Awards come often with a lot of cynicism around them and a lot of speculation. And years ago, there would be all kinds of different speculations over, that company only won that because they took the biggest table at the event, that kind of thing. But I think the awards industry has come such a long way itself since those years. It's now a massive established and growing industry. And actually, it's very competitive on the awards side to create the best and the most robust and most credible awards programs. And so companies who've got used to looking at them from a perspective of, they don't really count for much, actually, I think need to stop and take a look at them now and say, actually, what do these count for? Because there's other companies out there, even their competitors, who are using them to benchmark their achievements. And they're actually using them to proactively work towards bringing their projects and their team and everyone along to meet the criteria for. So they can be used in lots of different ways. But I mean, we've all been through so much the last, 5 years or so, that actually the thought of stopping and reflecting for everybody might have almost been a bit scary, because actually looking back and saying, well, what did happen then? And it might have felt like chaos, but actually when you unpick it and you start saying, well, then we changed this and then we added that and then we got this team and, all the different things that you did, actually you'd be surprised how much award-worthy material is there in what you might have just considered making business as usual could actually be award-winning.
I've heard a rumour that there's even organisations out there now that can actually support you in constructing an award entry.
Yeah,
have you heard of any?
mine.
Oh, really? Is that what you do? Oh, wow. Tell us about how that came about then. How did you come to, is it find or found? Doesn't make sense when you say found, does it?
Found to start.
Yeah. How did you come to start your company, August?
So we're known as August Recognition, and some people call us August Awards as well. So you can find us that way as well. So actually, I suppose this goes back to my childhood and goes back to the person that I am. As for every entrepreneur, when you start a business, it tends to be because you either want to do something better than you found it being done before, fix something, or you've got frustrated and you want to, get out there and solve the problem. And I think for me, what I've always loved in every job that I've ever done has been seeing other people achieve their potential. So I get a real buzz from that, and a real, that's what makes my heart sing. And so, to cut a very long story short, my original career was in dentistry, would you believe? But actually, you'd be surprised, you learn a lot about customer care in an environment where customers are terrified of seeing you. So then I actually had a real passion for linguistics. So I decided to go back to university, study linguistics. And from there, I started doing some business writing. From there, I started working with some entrepreneurs and helping them to do various bits of writing. But then an award entry would come up, and actually being able to unpick from them what they'd achieved in the business and then help them to be able to communicate that in a way that a judge or basically anyone on the other side could really see what they'd achieved, resulted in, really good outcomes. And then the more I did of that, and I got involved with the awards industry, worked with another agency, and then I could really see how this was game changing for many businesses. And I think for me, the combination of my passion of wanting to see people achieve their potential with also my love for linguistics, and I'm a bit of a data head as well sometimes, brought all of those things together, that actually what I found that I was able to achieve was helping people understand their own impact. So whether that was a team, an individual, a huge organization, a whole department, whatever that was, but actually helping them to stand back and unpick what they'd done to find the impact, and then to be able to communicate that in a way that a judge would think, wow, they stand out. That really became the business. And then so since then we've grown and grown and grown, and we've helped really all kinds of different businesses, from the smallest solopreneurs through to the biggest blue chip companies in the world, to actually get the recognition that they actually deserve through the work that they've done, by being that objective partner, really, to say, okay, well, what have you done? How did that work? When did it start? When did it finish? What were your measurements before and after, blah, blah, and actually help them to see that bigger picture. And I'm sure for you, for me as well, how often do you actually look back in the business or look back on your projects and say, okay, actually, this is the journey that we went on, and this is really the outcomes we achieved. So it can be so valuable for lots of different things as well. So the more we did it, the more we saw the value of those businesses actually go up, and then to be able to achieve more. So now we very much focus on helping businesses to connect the awards that they want to go for to their business goals. So if they want to grow, for example, which awards will help them to do that? Or if they want to recruit, which awards will help them to do that? And what will they need to be showing to achieve that? So it's very much now, as much as it's a celebration of success and recognition of achievement, it's a tool for development for the business as well.
There's so much more to it than you think there is, like, that really goes on.
There is. Someone once said to me, Donna, did you ever think you'd be running a business where basically you're writing an exam every single day?
Just crossed my mind, actually.
Funnily, I quite like exams.
You must be very good at it, though. Like, you must really perfected
Well,
it.
I've got a very well-trained team now. So in quite the early days of the business, I developed a training program because I've worked with other organizations. I've seen the way that businesses do award entries, and I judge a huge amount of awards. So I see entries coming in all the time. And I found some kind of magic formulas of what works and what doesn't work, and then put a training program together. And so all of my creative team are trained very specifically and uniquely to doing it in one particular way.
You can see the passion on your face as well. When you're talking about it, I can see it. Like, I can see the energy. Do you know what else I could see on your face? When you was in the dentistry, I reckon you was having, in between the clients coming, he's having a little sneaky teeth. Your teeth are the whitest teeth I've ever seen.
People always say that. They always say, "Is that why your teeth are?" No, just nothing.
I reckon you secretly in the dentist chair every couple of hours.
I don't like going myself either.
Do you not? Even though
No.
that's interesting. I won't ask why. Most people listening saying, "Oh, if only I could get to the dentist." We don't want to start that route.
But you know what? The interesting thing about that is, and I think this is really important actually in all careers, is skill stacking. So it's such a pivot for a different career for me. But I actually think the skills that I acquired through that role, and actually I have my own business doing that, really helped me in this world, because you can actually look at, okay, well, this person's nervous or this person doesn't want to be here. What is it that's causing a problem for them? Why do they feel like this? How can we make it better? How can we make it easier? What's a way to help them look forward to it? And you can apply all of that reasoning really in any business. And so it's kind of interesting when I'm working with businesses now who've got, maybe they've got a huge contact center, for example, and they've got hundreds or thousands of people answering phones. And I'm thinking, can you put yourself in that seat where what is your customer, or would have been my patient, sitting there feeling the way that they do before you start actually treating them with what they need? I think that comes into my kind of customer experience passion too.
Yeah, it's like those transferable skills, isn't it? There are so many in there when you look into it. Although people are leaving with an award most commonly after they've dealt with you now, rather than leaving with a numb cheek.
Yes, they are. Yeah, they're usually quite happy. Actually, you'd be surprised how nervous awards make people, or how anxious they are to actually even step forward and say, do you think this project is worth it? Do you think we could win an award for it? It's quite a vulnerable position to put yourself in, to say, you know what, I'm happy to get my project, get my team, tell you everything that we've done, and then put myself up to be judged next to all of these other companies who are doing brilliant things. You're actually in quite a vulnerable position. So I'm very appreciative of how nervous that can make people feel. Also, I think back, well, if they're doing it on their own and they're not doing it with the support of someone who's pulling all the right information out of them, actually what comes through into the award entry is their nerves, and what they think is humble actually can come across as quite negative and things like that. So I actually developed something called awards personas, and it's based on 10 different personas that I see very commonly shining through in an award entry. And they're quite fun, but they also are very, very real and are based on all of that evidence that I've seen. So you'd have anything from, for example, the bridesmaid is a persona, because this is the person who's always entering an award, always getting to the final, but never quite winning. Or you'd have the politician is quite a current popular one right now, and that's someone who gives you lots of big numbers in the award entry but can't actually substantiate or evidence them with anything.
These are so true.
A recent addition is the peacock.
These are brilliant.
That tends to be someone who you're judging and actually doesn't want the feedback and think they're perfectly well positioned to win, actually, without the help.
What are you doing here?
Oh, do you find though that sometimes the coffee's gone up my nose? Sorry. Oh dear. Do you find that sometimes that people start off quite shy and they're a bit more reluctant, but the time they get to the finals, if they get that far, they're almost like, yeah, look at me, and they sort of change?
They do. I do think you tend to always have that little bit of you still in there. So I think our two most popular personas, we've got a test, actually, a fun quiz you can do on the website to see what your persona is. And the two most common ones are what we call the awards imposter. So that's someone who really just thinks they're not worth it and they shouldn't be up for an award and they're sort of being forced into it by somebody else. And the ostrich. And the ostrich is someone who just wants to keep their head buried in the sand, and actually they don't want to put their head up because that's too scary, because what might happen once you get judged, what might that feedback say? So that happens a lot, and I do see it does come through in the written entries as well. And nowadays awards, there's some great awards out there that actually add a presentation stage on, so you would pitch to the judges as well. And often you'll find when people are pitching to you, they may lack a little bit of confidence, but I feel that as judges it's our duty and our role to really help them bring that out of them and bring out the information that we need and help to encourage and raise their confidence, not knock it at all. So actually it can be a really, really good activity to do with a team whose confidence you want to build. So we do quite a lot of coaching around presentation skills for presenting to judges of awards as well, to help them feel more confident when they go in.
I guess because that's not the natural environment for many people.
Absolutely not. And also if you're used to doing presentations at work, then that's internal. So the people around you know what you're talking about. It's very different telling that story to an external who knows nothing about your business. Equally, on the other side of the coin, you have people who are used to perhaps doing sales pitches, or they are used to doing a lot of external presenting. But again, it's not a sales pitch either. So it's actually finding the balance of how am I going to come across best, but also what's going to score me the best points in this award, because at the end of the day, I'm being judged against a set criteria. So it's understanding that as well.
So just taking one step back for a second, that persona quiz that you've got, that's on your website, augustawards.com.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So we can we give you a link to that. It's quite a fun thing, and it's interesting how real it is.
Yeah, I'm scared to do it, but I want to do it. Half and half. So can you see, if I go in and do it, do you get like a report of what that person's come in as?
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
so
no.
would give you a report. I'm just going to make a guess, Matt. I'm just going to say right now that if I had to guess which persona you'd be, my guess would be the party animal.
Oh, that's scary. What's that?
So you can go and do that one now. It's someone who really loves to be involved and really wants to be involved with awards, but leaves it to the last minute. Enters at the last minute and then just wants to go and enjoy the party.
Yes. But I don't intend to leave it to the last minute.
No party animal ever does.
No, this is why ChatGPT was invented, because it allows the party animals to make it look like they put a lot of effort into something last minute.
Yes, but unfortunately for the party animals, the judges, can unpick that.
Yes. Do you know what I find the hardest thing? So I've been around awards and involved in recognition within organisations. I find the hardest thing is getting the opportunity to speak. So the written part, if I can get through the written part, I'm very confident that I can articulate what I've been doing or something like that. I find that's the hardest bit. So maybe that's where you come in then, with that bit at the beginning is...
Yeah, so we would, for example, if you said, well, I want to, I've got this great podcast, it's been growing, I want to get some recognition for it, can really help to boost the business and to brand profile, then, and you said, but, I'm really happy to talk to the judges as well, because it's a question we'd always ask, then we could strategically look for awards that actually enable that as well. Equally, we have some clients who say, absolutely no way am I pitching to the judges. So strategically, we would avoid those ones. So it's about, actually, this is really important for all award scenarios. It's about understanding what you're entering in the first place, and actually, where could it help you to go? Who's it going to put you in front of? What's the audience for those awards? How does it connect with your business goals? And how does it connect with your strengths, so that you're running in the right race and you're going to have a really good chance of winning? Because I think one thing that people often don't realise is that out of all the entries into an awards category, they very often, the winner has often only won by a point or less than a point often. There's not always a big gap between who wins and who doesn't. Often nowadays, there's all really good entries going in. So you've got to get that bit ahead to get that extra point to give you that chance of winning. And that's where we're always looking for what I call the aggregation of marginal gains.
Blimey.
So this comes from, you might have heard of, in particular, it's talked about in Team GB in the Olympics. for sports people, but in particular the British cycling teams did it. So their coach would look, the aggregation of marginal gains is just every tiny little thing that you can tweak and adjust and change in order to give you a gain. For example, in British cycling, it was looking at what material the cyclists are wearing. It was looking at the materials of the bikes. It's looking at how aerodynamic all of that is. But it's also looking at things like, and you believe this, I've got actually on one of my podcasts, I've interviewed a multi-award winning Paralympian cyclist, and he was saying that they even test their mattresses that they're sleeping on, because if they don't get a good night's sleep, it will affect their performance. So everything from what they're eating, how they're sleeping, where they're sleeping, all of that is taken into account, and everything is tweaked and improved as much as it possibly can be to give them that marginal gain, because a cyclist will win on a fraction of a second.
Wow.
So those little tweaks can add up, and it's the same with awards. So we will look at a business, and yes, there's a part of that is about the copy, obviously, but my team are not copywriters, they are awards experts. So they're not just looking at how has this been written, it's actually how is the impact showing, and is there something else we could use as extra evidence? Is there something else that we could use to really bring it to life so the judge can really envisage themselves in their shoes? So all those marginal gains might add up to 1 or 2 points, but that's enough to win with.
So I did an episode a little while ago about Formula One with Mark Gallagher, and he's got loads of experience working in that industry. And it was very similar there. He was saying
Yes,
that
it
every
is.
minute second, a tiny little bit of weight on the car can change everything.
Exactly. And I think people don't look at awards like that. They look at awards as if they're just another bit of marketing copy. It's just another thing that needs to be written up and submitted. But actually, if they look at it through the eyes of a judge, which is what I'm always looking at it from, my question always at the end of every single sentence is, so what? So what? So what difference does that make? Why should I care? Why do your customers care? Why does your team care? So you've really got to learn to evidence absolutely everything to get those points.
All the good things in this world it's all in the preparation. So like decorating is all in the preparation.
Yeah.
Baking a cake, it's all in the preparation. Is it the same with awards then? It's all about how much work you put in beforehand.
Absolutely, yeah. And I always say to people, don't ever submit the first draft you've written. I'm going to be scaring people now.
Yeah, everyone's like, I'm not doing that.
Oh, God. Because that's your ideas. That's the flow. That's the kind of, this is what we did. That's the high level. And so it's great to get it all out. It's great to get your thoughts down. But actually, after that, then you need to look at how well does what I've done match the criteria? And how can I make sure this story evidences everything possible for the criteria, for the type of winner that the awards are looking for, looking at their past winners, for example. So there's a lot more that goes into it. And I think, preparation is key. I mean, we get asked to do people's award entries the day before a deadline. And we try and encourage people to not do that because you haven't got the time to get all the evidence together. The best way to do it is to plan ahead, strategically have an awards plan working alongside your marketing plan every year that focuses on whatever the business goals are. So let's say you want to get more customers or you want to retain your customers better. Then actually, what can we be doing with awards to show and prove that we're like first choice for the customers? Looking at that criteria and then working backwards from it, and not ignoring the bits that you can't answer, but actually working out how you can adapt the business to make sure you can answer them. Because if they're asking the question, it's probably something they expect to now see as best practice. So it's a really good business development tool that way as well.
You make it sound so simple. Make it sound really easy.
It's like everything though, isn't it? It's easy when you know how.
Yes, yeah. Do you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of when you apply for a job and you've got your CV. How often do we just submit the CV, regardless of what it says the scope of the role is? We just submit the blanket CV. But all the experts tell you, if you Google it, the first thing that comes up is tailor the CV to match the role. And we don't do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And people do make that mistake with, I submitted it for this award, so I'll just do it for that one and that one and that one. But actually, it's understanding the awards as well. What are they looking for as ambassadors of their program, as winners? Because they are thinking that way too. So, understanding previous winners, why they won and those kind of things helps you to understand where your level is at in comparison to those and to be judged, alongside those. Some people as well, strategically, we'll work with people who say, well, actually, they're not yet in a place to win this particular top award, but even just being in the final strategically will help their business because of who it will put them in front of or the fact that they can shout about success. And every customer and every employee wants to be connected to success. They want to be connected to good news and all of that around that. They don't want to just be connected to bad news or to no news.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that actually about the fringe benefits of going for an award, because so often we just think about, the goal is to win the award, but there's so much more that can come out of that for you and your organisation.
Yeah, definitely. I think as well, like knowing what you want to get out before you go in is really important. I'd say in the last couple of years, a lot since the pandemic actually, there's been much more focus on businesses wanting to get recognition for their teams and for their workplace for all of the good cultural things that they're doing as well, because they know that recruiting is harder than it's ever been. Retaining employees is harder than it's ever been. And different generations, depending on who you're recruiting, are looking for different things. So I think it's something like 91% of businesses nowadays actually having trouble with recruitment or retention. And so awards is one of the ways that they're showing that they're the best company to work for, or that they've got great employee well-being initiatives, or all sorts of flexibility, things like that. And then actually getting that third-party credibility. So it's not just them saying we're a great place to work, but actually, look, we've got the badge to say that we are. We've had to participate in this judging process to say that we are. And actually, that really helps attract better talent. And so we've got clients who've specifically done awards based on that, specifically before a recruitment campaign. And then one of our clients actually measured that and said they had 30% more applications after they had an award about their workplace than they did before. So, nowadays employees are savvy. Nobody wants to work in a business that isn't going to look after them, or isn't, if they feel something goes wrong, what's going to happen to me? So knowing that you've got this credibility around how you look after your employees, or the experience the employees are having, is hugely powerful for recruitment and retention nowadays. I came back, I thought, oh, that was good. Oh, I thought of that. Amazing. People often want to be considered innovative, but actually, is it really true innovation what they've done? Actually, I want to champion as well more women stepping forward for recognition of their achievements and their teams and their growth, and the unique challenges that they may have had in creating those achievements. Men will look at a job description, and if they meet 50% of the requirements, they'll apply for the job. Women want to meet 100% of the requirements.
This is the moment that Donna has been waiting for most of her life. It's the yes-no game on the Everceline podcast.
I've got a feeling this is not going to go well for me.
Are you ready to elevate your team's ways of working? Are you seeking fresh insights and growth opportunities? Our experts will assess your team's practices, providing valuable insights for improvement and celebration. Reward and recognise your team with this certification tailored specifically for creating an improvement culture. The BQF Academy accreditation acknowledges your journey, outstanding outcomes, and future plans. Whether you utilise Lean, Six Sigma, project management, or continuous improvement techniques, this certification celebrates your incredible work and positive impact. Propel your team's performance to new heights with the BQF Team Excellence Culture Certification. Visit www.bqf.org.uk today and let's celebrate your success together.
13-time Shingo Prize winner Dr. Jeffrey Liker and Toyota Kata author Mike Rother have created the Improvement Kata and Coaching Kata online course. This inexpensive, compact program is designed to transform your thinking and approach, making you a highly skilled learner and coach. Engage in deliberate practice to turbocharge your progress. You also get lifetime access to the materials, including all of the bonus interviews. Why pay up to 10 times the price elsewhere, listening to some consultant, when you can gain direct insights from the masters themselves? Skip the rest and go with the best. Join us today and embark on your journey to excellence. Just click on the link below to start your journey.
You go on LinkedIn, and half the people on there have got award-winning before their name. And I often wonder, well, what award is it? Like, who are the governing? Because I could give myself an award
Yeah.
very easily and stick it behind me and call myself award-winning.
Yeah. I mean, that is, yeah, and that is the challenge for the industry, that it's not a regulated industry at the end of the day. In some respects, that's great because it means that new businesses and new industries that are growing now can quickly launch new awards programs for their industry. And we see a lot of that happening. But in other, in other ways, that's difficult because actually you don't know what the award is. But there are some awards, there's quite a lot of awards out there that are well known. And you can always look up the award and see, why they're recognising someone.
I'm going to ask you now about your wonderful book, Win. I really like this book. You very kindly gave me 2 copies. You gave me a copy for myself to read, which I'm about 3/4 of the way through. That's this one because I spilt coffee on the cover. So it was that one. This one is a copy that you very kindly put a little note in, and we're going to give this one away to a very lucky Ever Celine podcast listener.
Excellent.
What we'll probably do is we'll do it on a like and a comment. So if people
Okay.
leave a like and a comment on the episode, on whatever platform they listen on, we can enter them into a random draw, and then I can
Brilliant.
ping this off to somebody. So tell us a little bit about this book, because it is really readable. Now, I'm one of those people that I struggle to take in information through the written word, and I get my value from books because I have to read every page twice. So I really get my value from it. But I found this one actually really easy to read.
Oh, good.
I found it's written like you would speak. I mean, perhaps because I know you.
Yeah,
I could
but
hear
that
your
is the
voice.
best way to write as well, is if you write like you speak, then people can read it. Yeah. The other thing actually is for people who don't like actual reading, I'm a real audiobook lover as well. And so I've recorded this, so it is on Audible as well.
What, with you reading it?
Yes, yeah.
Have you? I didn't know that. That's amazing.
Which is a really fun / strange experience because when you're writing a book, and now I've learnt my lesson on this, you don't imagine yourself reading the book. And then when I was reading the book, I was thinking, wow, Donna, that was a really long sentence.
Yeah, you poach a term gamekeeper when you're doing it that way.
Yeah, exactly. But actually, if you're someone who doesn't particularly like reading or find it hard to take in, actually listening and reading and making notes on the book at the same time is a really good way to take in information.
Yeah, really good idea. Wow, I didn't know you did that. Now I can actually go and listen to see if you sounded like what I thought you sounded like when I was reading it.
I've got my posh telephone voice.
Have you?
But also because I love audiobooks, but I much prefer it when they're read by the author, by an actor, because I feel like I can really pick up on that person's passion or enthusiasm or, the intonation around certain things.
So did you actually read a copy of the book? Was it the book you had in front of you?
Yeah. Manuscript, yeah.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. That's really cool.
It's a great experience. If anyone's listening wants to write a book, imagine yourself reading it out so that when you write it, you're ready for Audible.
Did you find it quite, because you'd written it, was it still like, did you feel like you'd read it before as you were reading it?
Yes, I think so. But also, I think when you write a book, you sort of mind block out some things that you've written. Yeah. And then I came back, I thought, oh, that was good. Oh, I thought of that. Amazing.
You should get an award for that. Is there any awards? Your team, is there any awards for writing a book?
There actually are.
I bet there is. The thing is with me, right, if I wrote my own book and it went out to publish, it's always been checked by a publisher, it's all ready to go. If I read it myself, I would find issues that I'm not happy with, that I want to change.
Yeah, I had to stop. At one point, I had to say, I don't ever want to look at it again until it's been published, because then once it's been published, I can't do anything about it. So I just have to get over it. But the proofreading and all of that was not done by me, because I definitely wouldn't have been able. I would have just been changing it forever.
Well, I didn't find anything wrong with it, and I'm free unless they're all in the last quarter.
Well, it was a finalist actually in the Business Book Awards of the year.
Amazing.
But I did say it's not going to win because it's called Win. That's just
yes,
too much.
how vain.
Exactly.
They deducted you a point for that. But it is a really good book, and as I say, I've really enjoyed reading it. So can you give us a bit of a glimpse into the key strategies or insights from the book that can help businesses achieve recognition and success?
Absolutely. So I'd say in the first instance, I wrote this for entrepreneurs, thinking very often, particularly startups or solo entrepreneurs who wouldn't be able to afford to outsource to someone like our agency, because it would be once you've got your business established. So really give them something to work with and to work towards with awards and to understand the journey. But actually what I then found was that it was really super useful for people who work within teams or are leading teams as well, to think of almost their own personal brand as well, and how they're showing themselves through what they're doing and what awards they could be going on a journey with as well. So there's some case studies in here from entrepreneurs and from corporate organizations. And there's lots of feedback from different awards programs, judges, all sorts in there. And we go right through from kind of just starting to prepare for awards. So what should you be doing with your profile and things like that, right through to how to win some of the biggest awards in the world, like the King's Awards for Enterprise and things like that. So there's a lot in there. The key strategies, I'd say, my main methodology is called the 6 pillars of award success. And so there's 6 key pillars that are really important to work through because they come up in almost every award. So, for example, understanding innovation, for example, understanding what that actually means from an awards perspective. It's probably one of the most misunderstood terms when it comes to awards. People often want to be considered innovative, but actually, is it really true innovation, what they've done? So if you understand that before you start putting yourself forward for it, then you're going to be in a better position of how you present that. And another one is, for example, insights. So people often forget that when they're writing an award entry, they start from now. This is me, this is who I am, this is what we do, this is how we do it. Therefore, you must think that we're great because we've achieved all of these great things. But they don't give us any insight into the context as to why they're doing that, or who they're solving a problem for, or really what makes them the expert on that. And actually, that's often comes from your backstory or your previous experience. And that could be as an individual yourself, something that you're really passionate about, that's really inspiring you and giving you insights to move forward. Or it could be something that's actually you've got particular insight on a particular niche type of work or type of skill that is enabling you to make really good strategic decisions, which is enabling your project to do really well. So it just really goes through all these different pillars that are really important to awards, but I think often people don't realise are important to awards. There's a digital workbook attached to that as well, so that people can actually take themselves through the process and create a real strategy around what their awards journey is going to look like.
It's amazing how much thought needs to go into it versus what goes into my entries. Because you have the best intent, you really do with this stuff.
Of course you do.
But things come up and get in the way, and I'll just do this and I'll just do that. And before you know it, it's deadline and you're stuck.
Exactly. But I think, most of us as human beings, we're naturally quite humble. We don't really naturally like telling everyone how great we are at doing things. And so it's hard. You're almost forcing that feeling when you're trying to write about yourself. Even for me, I find it really easy to see what everyone else is doing brilliantly, but I would find it harder to look from myself outwards, saying, okay, we're doing this brilliantly. Let's enter this. Because we all have that natural resistance to wanting to put ourselves forward for things. And there's a real balance as well, because it's interesting. I was looking at some research into awards in general recently. And I think over the last 20 years, if you look at the Oscars and the BAFTAs, there's an 80-20 split between men being nominated for awards and women.
Wow.
So 80% men, 20% women. And that's over the last 20 years. Now, that's the Oscars and the BAFTAs, that's, TV, but that pattern shows the same across business awards as well. And so often the directive for an award is coming more, 80% of the time, is coming from the male side of the business than it is coming from the women. So actually, I want to champion as well more women stepping forward for recognition of their achievements and their teams and their growth and the unique challenges that they may have had in creating those achievements. So there's a real imbalance there as well that we can help to build confidence around for putting yourself forward.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I think that's probably a bigger picture kind of story around everything. But it's a bit like, I don't know if you've seen the research on, like you were saying earlier, on CVs and jobs. They're saying, men will look at a job description, and if they meet 50% of the requirements, they'll apply for the job. Women want to meet 100% of the requirements before they'll have the confidence to apply for the job. So, I think this is all steeped in history.
Yeah.
But, I think that should change. And I want to see that change, because actually, men or women, it doesn't matter. We're all doing brilliant things. And if you're doing brilliant things, it's about having the confidence to stand up and be recognised for that. Because actually, it's not about thinking, well, all I'm doing is shining the spotlight on me and I don't want to be like that and everyone will think that I'm just showing off. It's actually about looking at it as empowering you to shine the spotlight on something else. So if you're really passionate about recognizing your team, or if you're really passionate about a particular topic or movement, by raising your own profile, whether that's internally within a business or externally because you're an entrepreneur, you will be able to shine the spotlight on what you're passionate about much, much easier than you have been before. So it's about taking that spotlight and switching it around, face the other way. Say, no, this is not here. I'm not putting the spotlight on me to make me feel like, everyone look at me. I'm putting the spotlight on this cause or this movement or this project because this is what's important to be looking at.
It's odd, right? Because I've worked in big organisations and now I work on my own. I actually think I'd find it harder to put myself forward for an award now than I would have done when I
Yeah.
was in an organisation.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, everyone's different, about how they sort of feel about it. But I think within an organisation, it can make such a difference to. So, for example, if we're working with a large organisation, they've got their marketing department, their sales department, their HR department, all of that. And it's really interesting because we'll often be working with the HR or the learning and development or digital transformation, those kind of projects, because everyone hears from the marketing department, everyone hears from the sales department, everyone knows what they're doing. But actually, a lot of what goes on behind the scenes gets missed. And so raising the profile of these other departments that are doing great things and are enabling others within the business to move forward, or to they're, as you say, being more lean, they're being more efficient because actually they've put in process new training or whatever it is, then actually they're having huge impact on the business, but it's not generally their area that's being shouted about. So I really enjoy working with those teams who until now have kind of just been sort of quietly getting on with what they do. Well, but actually what they do is really powerful within the business and it's going to save lots of money or save lots of time or just make everyone's lives better.
Do you know, I think that's what it is. I think for me, in an organisation, I felt like everyone could see what I was doing. Everyone can see the amount of hours that you're spending doing something. When you work on your own, people only ever see the output. So they've got
Yes.
no idea what goes in behind the scenes. So you kind of feel,
Yeah.
I kind of feel that putting my hand up, I want to apply for an award for something that I've done. People are going to look at it and go, well, he's only done this, because they're not going to see everything I've done behind the scenes.
Yeah. But that's where the award entry is your opportunity to showcase that. And also that's about sort of putting yourself in the right race as well, where perhaps you're competing against others who are in a similar position, so that you're not competing against others where you would have a less chance of success. But even saying that, we work with small companies who say, actually, if I can just even get into the final of this huge competition, that can be a huge amount of kudos for you and for your business. But I don't think anyone ever truly knows what goes on entirely behind the scenes of anything.
You don't want them to. You don't want people to know what really goes on. A couple of years ago, my son decided he wanted to play tennis. So I went up in the loft. I was like, I used to play tennis when I was at school. I got the old tennis racket out of the loft. I was like, this is what I used to do. And then he goes, should we go to the park and play? I said, no. So I'm on the internet and I was like, I found a tournament that I had to go and play in. I hadn't played for 20 years, but I couldn't just start off with something that was competitive. I had to go and play in a tournament.
Jump straight in.
I won the tournament.
Oh, well, there you go.
There you go. Yeah, no, but it didn't send the right message out. But I'm one of those people that I couldn't go in and I'd want to go for I've got no chance against like the big guns.
But that's great though, because if you've got the confidence to do it, you'll always get something out from it. So, whatever that is, and even if that's just the enjoyment of the event, even if you didn't win, but actually what you've learned by being part of the event could be huge. There's actually a lot of awards nowadays that, as part of their process, as I said earlier, they enable you to do a pitch or presentation to the judges. But that's actually open for other contestants or entrants to see.
Oh, wow.
And they use it as a learning opportunity for development. So actually, do you want to know what the biggest and best brands in the world are doing in their digital transformation journey or whatever it is? Well, actually, you can come and watch and be part of that, and they can watch yours. So there's a lot more collaboration and sharing now of the knowledge, I'd say, that goes on from awards to, using them as a real tool for development.
Brilliant idea. You think it works on the X Factor? Because we sit there every year, we watch Britain's Got Talent or the X Factor, we mock how bad they are, and then the next year we go to audition, and then we go, we're not going to be like that person. It's the same sort of thing.
There's so much learning to be had. And actually, the other thing, and this is just, the way that the world is, and I think it's a really positive thing, is it's learning from different industries. Because very often you'll be in one sector, and this is what your sector does. And then you look at your competitors and what they do. But actually, there's a lot that could be learned from an entirely different sector on how they look after their customers. So we're seeing a lot of transfer of knowledge now coming across. So it might be that the hospitality sector, this has come up recently actually, the hospitality sector has learned a lot in certain brands about customer experience from the travel sector. And so they're looking at the way that they're transporting, how they deal with customers there. Well, how can we apply that here? And there's a lot of transfer as well now that's going on between sort of utilities sector as well and more consumer facing brands. So even like Amazon, well, what is it that Amazon does to make, people so happy to use them all the time? Well, how can we apply that thinking to our business, which is, I don't know, a water company or something, where people don't want to spend their money on us, but they have to. So how can we make it a better consumer experience? And then you're finding them going into the same awards and competing with the same kind of customer experience credibility and awards and recognition, and then learning a lot from each other to take back into the business as well. So I really like seeing that transfer of information.
I guess it only takes one to come forward. It goes back to what you were saying before. It takes one to come forward to shine the light,
Yeah,
to then encourage other people to do the same thing.
exactly.
And that's how it grows.
But that in itself is making awards even more competitive, because now, the some of the initiatives that you see as a judge coming through are incredible. And you'll be thinking, wow, I had no idea that was going on behind the scenes at that brand or whatever it is. And actually, can learn a lot from that and then look back at it and say, okay, so if you want to enter these awards, this is the kind of benchmark you're going to need to hit, because this is the kind of information that's going in there and this is the kind of innovation that they're seeing. So I guess that gives us a really good position to be able to give people insights on. We don't obviously share what we've been judging and things like that, but we can see how industries are changing. So for example, a few years ago, probably not that long ago actually, which is quite scary, to win a best workplace type award, all you needed was a pool table and a popcorn machine and a bowl of fruit. And, there you are, you're looking after your employees. Well, that won't cut the mustard nowadays, obviously. So you've got to really showcase how you are making life better for employees in a very real and accessible way.
It's good then. So it's driving it away from that stereotypical pool table popcorn machine. It's making people do more.
I think as well, what people don't realise is there's trends in awards, but in the same way as there's trends in the world, as the way that industries change, awards will very quickly pick up on that, and they will change their categories and their criteria to meet those new expectations. And so you see lots of new awards coming out. So for example, at the moment, there's lots of new AI awards coming out. So you can imagine an AI and new technology type categories. And probably the projects that will go into them now in 2-3 years time would be seen as very basic. So as we evolve with the world and that changes, the awards will change to keep up with that as well. So it's a bit of a push and pull effect with awards.
So basically what you're saying, Donna, anyone I find on LinkedIn who's got an award from 2 years ago that says they've got best employer or something, I know, or did it at the pool table or popcorn, they're crap, really.
It's an interesting cycle with awards, because we often find that businesses want to win awards for a couple of years and then they go, oh, we've got enough awards now. We don't need any more awards. No, we're fine now. No. And there's a bit of a 3-year cycle for awards. So the first year it's really exciting. We're going for awards and it's a big learning journey, and they're making a lot of development in the business because of it. The second year, they're really hitting their stride now. So they start winning lots of awards because they get it now and they're putting and implementing the right processes and the right measurements. And the third year, everyone's getting a little bit fatigued. Okay, we've been to a lot of awards now, guys. This is getting exhausting. We've got loads of awards. We don't need any more. And then what they do is they kind of go dormant for a year or two on awards, live off of the ones that they've got. But then they find actually, oh, now we're starting to be questioned, because when we advertise for, with a new graduate training scheme or something, and our best workplace award was from 2020, then what does that say now? Because I don't know what you think when you see that, but I always think, oh, what have you done since then? Because obviously things have gone downhill. I always think that, even if I'm like booking a holiday or something and their awards are not current.
I go down the local kebab shop. They got best kebab in East Sussex 2018. I think, God, what happened since then?
As consumers, I always think with awards, put yourself in the consumer's shoes. Well, what would you think? And then it starts becoming questionable. And the other thing with awards is, I'm not sure everyone always realises, it's a long process. So some of the best awards in the world will take 6, 9, 12 months to go from entry to actually getting a result. So if you suddenly want an award now, you need to have really thought about it last year. And then also, old news is kind of no news in awards. So you need to think it needs to be current, but you need to be able to prove it. But then the awards are going to move quickly. So you should really be thinking now what you'd be entering awards for in the next 6 months.
It's hard, isn't it? Because if you go for an award, you've then started the cycle, especially if you win it, because then you need to keep doing it to make sure you don't go to Best Kebab Shop
Exactly.
2018. But then you can't not do it because your competitors are going to go for it and they're going to get the awards.
But it's often actually competitors is often quite a trigger for people to come to us because they'll say, I'm getting fed up now because I've seen, Joe Bloggs down the road winning this award and I know we're better than they are. So why are they winning it? And I'm like, well, did you enter it? No. Well, that's why they're winning it. So unless you enter it, you're not going to win it. And you have to accept that the benchmark then stops with them. So if you want to set the pace and be the one who's winning, it really should be a key part of your marketing strategy. It's a little bit like advertising, I think. I always look at the kind of digital out of home boards and things like that and think, how do you measure the impact of that advert? How do you know that that advert has given your business a return on investment? And awards are a little bit like that. You won't always know the return on investment directly from the specific award, but it's only once you're not doing it anymore that you'll then realize, oh, actually, that did seem to make quite a difference. So, and it is slightly different for different industries. So, for example, other agencies, if we're working with a digital agency, for example, we find that with agencies who are pitching constantly for new clients and they're B2B, if they haven't got a current award in their armory, they often won't win the pitch because the company with a current award will, because that will make the person who's, essentially signing off the budget feel safer about who they're signing it off with.
It makes sense.
So we work really strategically with other agencies to make sure they've always got current awards for current projects. And then that enables them to win more pitches. And some come back and say, we wouldn't have even got through the door without that award. We wouldn't have been in the final three. So it got us through the door. And then once we could talk to them, we won the pitch. And then others, spoken to others who've lost pitches just because they haven't got it. So, again, strategically for the business, you have to think, well, what do I want it to help me achieve and get the right awards for that element.
But as a consumer, I mean, when you go on holiday, the worst thing about going on holiday is your local Indian restaurant that you really like is no longer close.
Yeah.
So you have to find one that's close to you, and it's always dodgy. You never know what you're going to
Yeah.
get. And if I Google like Indian restaurants near me, wherever I am, if a load come up and one of them says award winner
Yeah.
from that year, I'm not even going to look at the other
Exactly.
ones. I'm straight in on that one.
Another thing that's really interesting about reviews now is there was a big piece of research done on this post-pandemic. And it showed that for a while, we all really relied on reviews. So when reviews became a thing, I don't know how long ago, maybe 10 years ago or something. And then you've got Trustpilot, TripAdvisor, all of these review sites, star ratings and things like that. We all really bought into that. Actually, Amazon would have been one of the first with their reviews.
Yeah.
But then after a period of time, of course, people learn to hack the system. And so then we actually flip the other way and get really cynical about reviews. Oh, they just paid for all those reviews, or that's their competitor putting a 1-star review. And there's a lot of stuff like that does go on in the world. And a bit like awards, you can't really stop it. You can try and put in place processes, but you can't really stop it. So then we went through a period of we don't trust reviews anymore as consumers. How do I know? I don't know if I believe that one. I think they wrote it themselves or, that kind of thing. So now the research showed that when you have both reviews and external awards, then you're more likely to be trusted by the consumer. And so now 85% of consumers want to see both, not just one or the other. So it's really interesting how that has evolved as our digital lives have evolved, and we're relying on what we find on the internet, possibly even more so sometimes than word of mouth, which is the strongest because we consider that a type of word of mouth.
I wish people could see your face as you're talking about this stuff because you genuinely are really passionate. I love it. It's coming through to me.
Well, I think it affects everything, and I think I see it affect everything. So it's wanting to help other people to see that so they can put the processes in place to make sure that they're aware of that. So, for your listeners, I'd say, go and have a look at your website. What do your reviews say? Have you got credible awards alongside them so that you're showing the consumer, whether that's B2B or B2C, that you are doing everything you can to prove that you are fully trustworthy and that I can spend my money with you and feel completely safe about it.
Is there like a central place that people can go to find out if there's awards or what awards are out there in their sector or industry?
Yeah, so we've got an awards directory on our website, which is in beta mode at the moment, and we're building, and that's going to be huge. So
Wow.
we've also got an AI enabled awards assistant who is trained by me and can give you answers. But we always say ultimately, for anyone, there's 4,000 or 5,000 awards out there in the world. Like, you don't want to trawl through all of those. And depending on what industry you're in, there could be hundreds for you. So actually, it's understanding your strengths, the strengths of those awards, how they can help you and what you've really got to go for them, and putting that together. So we tend to work very strategically with clients to put a plan together for them so that they're not either entering the wrong awards programs and not going to have any success, or not going to have a return on investment from it. And actually, it's an interesting piece, this, because I've included this in my training program. So anyone can access the training program. It's about to relaunch actually in the next couple of months on a new platform. But the strategy part, which is the research and the understanding of what you should be entering, not just jumping into an awards program because you heard someone else did it, but actually understanding your ability to win that award, is always the bit that everyone wants to do. And then once they start doing it, it's like, oh, actually, can you do this for us? Because there's not really any shortcuts. Yes, you can have a directory. We've got, actually, I should say, you can do a little quiz on the website and it will give you 5 credible awards that you could enter based on your answers. So that's worth doing. So they were all credible awards and you can trust them. But other than that, I would say if you've got a particular project or a particular, it's for your industry, not just a general business award, then I would say really getting a recommendation of what's going to suit that project best is ideal.
Basically, what Donna's saying is come and check out her website.
Yeah, no 2 awards are equal. That's what I would say. So
that's a good point. Yeah, they're not, are they?
Understanding your strengths, though, is really important, I would say.
Very good. Right, we're going to find out what your strengths are now, Donna, because I'm going to put you to the test with the yes-no game.
Okay.
And there's no awards for this other than your own self-pride.
Might invent one.
Or the shame of knowing you didn't survive.
I've got a feeling this is not going to go well for me.
It might save us a bit of time. So the way this works is normally I give people the option of card number 1, 2, or 3, which gives them the topic that we're going to talk about. But it just felt fitting with you that the topic needs to be awards.
Okay.
So your topic is about awards all over the world in different industries and stuff, right? It's mainly about music and TV because they were the easiest questions to find.
Oh, good.
So I'm going to put some really scary music on. You need to try and survive 60 seconds without using the words yes, no, or a variant of that.
Okay.
All right? Because I've had that before. People have just shaken their head and I've gone, no, that so counts. So if you hear the gong, that means you did do that. My word is final. So there's no arguing about the result. There's no VAR, no linesman looking along the line, right? There's just my hand on top of the gong button. You up for this?
I'm up for this.
Are you sweating? You look nervous.
Well, I have been told that my brain sometimes works more quickly than my mouth. So
This is going to be brilliant. I'm looking forward to this. This is the moment that Donna has been waiting for most of her life. It's the yes-no game on the Eversaline podcast. Donna! I get the question. Who gave the most memorable acceptance speech that you've ever seen?
Gwyneth Paltrow?
Oh, okay. Have you ever watched the Oscars live?
That's not something I've watched live.
Is the Golden Globe Awards shaped like a globe?
It could be shaped like a globe.
Do you think it is or isn't?
I haven't seen it.
If you could win any award, which one would you choose?
Ooh. The King's Award.
Good award. Have you ever voted in the People's Choice Awards?
It's not something that I participate in.
Would you vote if you could?
I don't have time for that.
Oh, Donna! Well done. You by the skin of your teeth survived. But I think there's a bit of an internet connection delay going on here. Where are you dialing in from? Australia?
Oh yeah, good day.
You did it. Yeah, see, I knew it. There's a kangaroo bouncing around behind her. Well done. You survived. I had some good questions lined up, but we only got about 7 questions in. I had stuff around animated movies.
Oh, really?
I like animated movies. It's funny when you have kids, you find yourself when you watch a film, you're like, should we watch a film? And in the olden days, it was like you'd go on to Netflix and you'd find like the latest
Yeah.
gruesome film or something like that. Something.
Well, actually, Matt, I'd just like to say in my olden days, you'd go to Blockbuster and hire a video.
Yes, Blockbuster, £3 and get some chips on the way back. But yeah, now it's like, oh, what are we going to watch? Ice Age or we're going to watch Toy Story again?
If it makes you feel any better, my daughters are 21 and 19 and still choose the animated movie.
Really?
Yeah.
But do you know what I find, right? My kids are 11, 8 and 1. So we're kind of going back through the cycle again now after a period of time. And I'm watching Peppa with my 1-year-old, Peppa Pig. And there's a lot of adult humour in that you don't pick up on like initially. And it's come to my attention that the whole series is based around making Daddy Pig look like a prat. Because he's a complete wally and they really play on it. There you go.
Oh,
anyway,
bless.
Thank you so much, Donna. It's been an absolute joy talking to you.
Thank you, Matt. It's been good.
Where can people go to get your audiobook and any other useful information for people that you want to share?
Yeah, so if you head to our website, which is augustawards.com, you can find a whole load of free resources on there. So we've got quizzes that will give you free awards lists. We've got you can download the book. Free copy of the book there. If you want an audio recording, that's on Audible. So yeah, start there, and there's loads and loads to learn just from being on the website.
Thank you so much, Donna. It's been an absolute joy.
Thank you, Matt. It was really lovely. I really enjoyed that.
Some key takeaways then from today's wonderful discussion with Donna. Regularly acknowledging team success boosts morale and motivation, creating a positive and productive work environment. So often we forget to say, well done, that was great, that was brilliant, thanks for doing that. Yet we jump on poor performance and things that aren't going quite so well. Recognition really does help reinforce positive behaviours and achievements. It helps to foster a culture of appreciation and continuous improvement. Awards are just so valuable. Using awards as benchmarks for success and third-party validation to enhance credibility with customers, employees and stakeholders. Donna spoke about it today. Awards provide external validation, building trust and confidence in your brand and its accomplishments. Awards impact business growth, aiding recruitment, retention and credibility with stakeholders. Recognising your team's efforts through awards can attract top talent and retain existing employees by showcasing your commitment to excellence and recognition. If you do enter an award, prepare thoroughly, provide clear evidence and tailor each application to the specific award. Donna spoke about today about one size doesn't fit all. It's a bit like when you apply for a job with a CV. You should always tailor your CV to the role that you're applying for. A one size approach doesn't work. Detailed and customized applications increase your chances of winning by directly addressing the award criteria and demonstrating your achievements effectively. Recognize the increasing credibility of awards and leverage them for your growth. As awards become more competitive and more credible, they offer significant opportunities for business growth and benchmarking against industry standards. Frame award applications as highlighting team or project achievements to overcome self-promotional challenges. Think about framing an award application as highlighting team or project achievements to overcome that self-promotion challenge. This approach helps individuals feel more comfortable with the process by focusing on collective success rather than on personal gain. Donna shared with us that amazing stat about men versus women when it comes to the awards nominations. And that's quite a scary stat. 80% of the people that apply for awards are men. Mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing. Promoting gender diversity in award nominations helps ensure a more inclusive and representative recognition of talent and achievements. Choose awards that align with business goals and strengths, considering both sector-specific and general awards. Strategic selection of the awards ensures your efforts are aligned with your business objectives, maximising the impact and relevance of your recognitions. Use the awards process to drive business reflection, improvements and innovation. It's a great opportunity to look back at what you've actually done. What did you learn from that? And what can you do differently next time? Preparing for awards requires a thorough evaluation of your practices, leading to insights that benefit your business operations and outcomes. It's great to learn from practices across different sectors through awards as well. Awards facilitate knowledge transfer, allowing you to adopt best practices from other industries and improve your own performance and customer experiences. Why not utilise organisations like August Recognition for constructing effective award entries? Use resources like Donna's book Win for practical guidance and strategic planning. Professional assistance really does ensure that your award entries are compelling and stand out to judges, increasing your chances of success. Now, these takeaways that I've noted down might be different to yours, but I think they emphasise the strategic and motivational benefits of awards, the importance of thorough preparation, and the value of industry learning and continuous improvement really shone through for me. That brings us to an end of this episode of the Everselling podcast. Thanks so much to Donna for joining us today and really lifting the lid on awards. There's so much more to it when you start to scratch the surface. It's amazing, really, really valuable session. Thank you so much. If you enjoyed today's episode and you want more, be sure to subscribe and follow the Everselling podcast on your preferred platform or visit www.everselling.com. Whilst there, you can catch up on any missed episodes and learn more about what we have to offer here at Ever So Lean. Taking a moment to like and review the Everselling podcast on your listening platform would mean the world to me. Your reviews are invaluable and I genuinely appreciate each and every one. Thanks so much, and I'll see you on the next episode. And don't forget, Ever So Lean. You know it makes sense. The Everselling podcast is researched, produced and recorded by Matt Sims. Visit everselling.com to find out more.